This is a video all about how to reprogram your subconscious mind for self-confidence. And if you are someone who struggles with a really negative mindset, a lot of insecurities, constantly letting the past dictate how you see yourself and how you're showing up each day, then make sure you stick around till the end of this video, because these 3 things that I'm sharing throughout the course of this video are going to absolutely change the way you see yourself and think about yourself, and it's going to allow you to finally show up in the world and shine your light and really know and truly feel that you are worthy, that you are more than enough, and that you are so wildly capable and deserving of all the amazing things that you want to have in your life. So stick around and let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Kara Michelle and I'm here to help you live your truth. So let's get started with self-confidence, and all of these tools that I'm sharing with you throughout this video have helped me radically change my own life. So I know they're going to help you change yours as well. And I want to start with the very foundational step that this is something like I highly recommend you journal on, whether you do this right as you're watching this video or you pause it or you come back to this later, but make sure you spend time reflecting on this, okay? Because this first part is the absolute foundation, and you really need to have the ding awareness around it if you want to create real and lasting change in your confidence. So I talk about it all the time: awareness. It is step number 1. It is always the most important thing to do if you want to create any kind of change in any area of your life. You first have to become aware of what's going on in order to make those changes. Okay, so the very first part is to ask yourself, what is your current story? Okay, so what is your current story right now? I know for me, for most of my life, my story was that I wasn't good enough. It was that I was ugly because I had really bad skin and braces for quite a while because my teeth were horrible. I didn't like most parts of my body, so I just felt really gross and like unworthy. I had stories around my voice and around the fact that I felt like no one really cared what I had to say. I've talked about that in other videos as well. I had a lot of stories around like not belonging, not truly fitting in, because I never had like one best friend. I always had a lot of different friend groups for different things. Man, a lot of stories. I had stories related to my abilities in school and like grades. No matter how well I did, I still would play these stories of not being enough. And same with sports. No matter how many like high-end sports teams I made or scholarships I got, I still didn't believe I was good enough. And so I told myself that story and I stayed stuck in this loop, right? So the first thing for you to do, like I said, maybe journal on this right now or later, is to ask yourself, what is your current story? Now, this is the current program that your mind is playing. And I want you to think of this, or I invite you to think of this as a program in your mind. So everything that's looping on repeat is just part of the program, and that means that we can change the program. So what is the current story? Are you telling yourself that you're not good with money, that you'll never have enough, that you don't deserve more, that no matter how hard you work, you always stay at the same amount, right? That could be a story. That could be your money story right now. Are you telling yourself that you'll never find the right partner, that you're not good enough? We'll just throw that one in there again because it's pretty common. That you're not deserving, that you only attract people like so-and-so or with these kind of traits? Do you feel like, are you letting past relationships or lack thereof dictate your ability and what you deserve in relationships? So that becomes your relationship story. What is your story around your body image and, the level of self-love that you have for yourself? I have an amazing video all about confidence for self-love. Check it out. It looks like this, and it will share some really big tools for you if you struggle with body image and all of that piece. You want to learn how to love yourself more. So you will have a current story for a lot of different components in your life, and there is no right or wrong. So before you even dive into this, I want to preface this that whatever that story is, that's okay. The point of this is to become aware. It's not to judge yourself or beat yourself up for what you're thinking. It's just creating the awareness, because once you have awareness, you can bring about change. So you can start to shift that story and stop giving so much emphasis to what you're currently telling yourself, okay? So confidence comes from within. And I know you probably heard that. You might be like, I don't care because I want this thing and then I'll feel more confident, or I want to look this way and then I'll feel more confident. But I promise you, as someone who's said all of those things for 20 some years of her life, that isn't true. The external things will not create internal happiness. Comment that down below. The external things will not create internal happiness. So in order to create confidence, that comes from within. That comes from you knowing on a soul level, on a cellular level, that you are more than enough just by being yourself. That you are worthy right now as you watch this video, no matter how many mistakes you think you've made, or no matter how many times you feel like you didn't measure up, no matter how many times, you stumbled and fell or embarrassed yourself or whatever it is, you are worthy. You're more than worthy right now in this moment. So no matter what you have sitting around you, you could be sitting in a small house with very few things around you and not a lot of money in the bank and no friends or support, or very little friends and support, and you could be feeling like you're not confident, not good enough. You could also be sitting in a mansion with like incredible friends and an incredible lifestyle and more money than you could imagine, and you still could feel like you're not good enough. It's because it all comes from here, which is why we want to learn how to create that and cultivate that from within instead of searching for it from without. And this is coming from someone who used to pray and pray and pray that I would, just like, if I could just have clearer skin, I'll believe in myself and I'll feel confident and pretty. And then my skin started to clear up, and you know what? I still didn't feel confident or pretty because I still was living in the program and the old story and the old mental picture of myself. I still saw myself the old way until I started to do this inner work. The same thing happened with money, where I thought, I'll be confident once I'm achieving this much each month in my business, and then I'll feel good enough. Then I'll feel like I'm worthy and I have enough to offer the world. Well, once I hit that, nothing changed. Literally, nothing changed until I started to realize it came from within. And I applied these tools once again to start to realize, oh wait, I was already worthy and enough. I already had enough to celebrate and to love about myself even before I achieved this goal or this mark. And so that is just like the icing on the cake. But if we're searching for those external things to validate ourselves, we're going to be left feeling very dissatisfied internally. So please, if you take anything from this video, please just know that it starts from within. You have the ability and power to cultivate that right now. And the more you focus on creating confidence in every single moment versus waiting until you have something around you to validate yourself, the better you're gonna feel. So please. Confidence is all about the story you're telling yourself. So this is why we're starting here with the radical awareness around what story am I telling myself. Because as long as you continue to play out that story, that's what you're going to continue to fuel as a belief and as a feeling all the time. So now we can start to shift and start telling a new story, start focusing on other things, stop like shining the flashlight on your flaws or the places you're lacking or the things you wish you had, and start shining that light on all of the amazing things you bring to the world. So perfect quick example before I get into this next step, before I get into both of these steps. So something I did for myself when I was feeling really insecure and I didn't like who I was, and I just look in the mirror and I just criticize everything that I saw, and all of these negative stories came out. And you've probably been there before, where you start to tell a negative story and you focus on one or two things, and then it just fuels more and more and you go into this really negative spiral. So what I started to do is, instead of focusing on those things, when I'd look in the mirror, I started to catch that and go, okay, this is just a story, so I can tell a different story right now. And instead of telling the complete opposite, which would have felt really unbelievable and untrue, like if I'm telling myself I'm ugly for years, I can't just say I'm beautiful and believe it. It's gonna take time to get there, right? So instead of trying to jump all the way to step 20 or chapter 20, I just took a baby step. So I found, what is one thing that I do love about myself, or that I do feel good enough about or confident in? And for me, that was more related to like my heart and just my genuine nature. And that was something that I could like fully get behind in believing in myself, of I love how much I care about people in the world. So instead of thinking I'm ugly and fueling all these negative thoughts, I'd catch it as a story and I just implant something positive, even if it's totally unrelated. So please try that out. Feel free to share in the comments below if you're finding this helpful so far, if you're going to give this tool a try, or this little hack that I just shared. And please make sure to hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell too, so that you never miss my daily videos. Now, as we get into the next one, this is where you get to go like, what is true? Ooh, this writing is, I'm trying not to write over. I'm trying not to like wipe off the board as I go. So this is where you're realizing, okay, this is the story. This is the story I'm telling myself. Now, what is true and what is false? So for a long time, let's go with the money story for a second. For a long time, I did struggle with money. And so a lot of that money story was true, but was it an ultimate truth? And I think Tony Robbins talks about this, and it's like, is it an ultimate truth? Like, is it a truth forever, in that you can never, ever, ever, ever change that? Or is it just like a temporary truth of like, yeah, you know what, that was true a few of the times, but it doesn't have to be true all the time. So maybe I don't give all my power to it anymore. I just take a little bit of power away and open up for more possibilities of different truths to come in, right? So you have the ability to start to go, okay, this is true a little bit, you know what? But this is false. And this is actually not an ultimate truth. This was just that one time. How many of you watching this maybe have one moment in grade school or something, or junior high, where someone made a comment or picked on you or made you feel smaller or less than, and you have let that dictate your self-image, and now you're continuing to see yourself in that way all the time. So you've let that one moment dictate your reality, and what we want to do is realize, wait a minute, that wasn't even true. That didn't have to be true. So you have the power now to start to go, okay, what is true and what is false from the story that I've been telling myself? So maybe little bits are true, and maybe parts of it are just like extremely exaggerated, or something that you've clung to and created as your reality. So hopefully this helps. And then what you can do from there is, what can you learn from it? So if there is a minor truth, for example, if there were times where I was really bad with money, what can I learn from that to evolve and to shift my money story or my money beliefs or my confidence around money, right? What can I take that's true to evolve, and what can I leave behind? So I don't need to continue feeling super insecure or horrible with money or not enough because of a few times. Well, no, I was just learning. I was just evolving and growing. That's cool. As long as I move forward, that's all that matters. And same with confidence for self-image. So maybe there was a small truth that for a long time I did feel really insecure because of my skin or because of things. But when I look at it deeper and I actually reflect on it, I can see, wait a minute, I'm basing my perception of beauty on what I've seen from the media and what I've seen from advertisements on TV. I've been programmed to think that acne is like the ugliest thing in the world, instead of realizing like it's something that pretty much every human being has at some point in their life, and it's like, it's just part of being human, you know? I had to reprogram and shift my beliefs around that. And so when I started to have breakouts, instead of looking at myself in the mirror and criticizing and hating myself and wanting to hide or thinking that that's the only thing people are going to notice about me, I would start to say, oh, it's just like a little beauty mark, or it's like, oh, it's just like character spot. That's what I started to call it, a character spot, because I was like, that makes it feel less ugly, and that's more just like, I've got a pimple, that's cool, it doesn't really matter. So the level of attachment and the level of my self-worth that I'm tying into my acne, for example, is no longer as strong as it used to be. So taking this story that you've hopefully journaled on a little bit or reflected on in this video, comment down below what you want to shift into, or what can you take from that story that's going to help you evolve and move forward as a human being on this journey, that's also going to allow you to feel more confident. So it's like, oh, that was just a part of my chapter, or oh, that's just something I experienced a few times, but it's not defining who I am as a human. You can comment that down below as well. My mistakes do not define me, or my past does not define me. So do not continue to allow your story from the past to dictate how you see yourself every single day now. That is the worst thing you can do, because we're all here to evolve and grow, and the only way we can evolve is through learning, and it's through making some of those mistakes or, falling down. But as long as we continue to see the positive in that and move forward, use it to empower us and strengthen us by learning from it, then everything changes, okay? If you want extra tips on this, and specifically, trouble talking. If you want tips specifically related to confidence and self-esteem and the mindset shifts you can use, I have a really great self-esteem cheat sheet. It is linked down below. Make sure you grab that, because this is going to be something that will really help you. Simple but very, very powerful shifts that you can make each day with your self-talk that will help you be so much more confident if you apply them every day. So make sure you check that out. And now, step number 3. This is my favorite, I think, because actually, no, they're all my favorites. But once you have done the awareness, once you've done the uncovering, then this is where you can start to tap into your alter ego. So we all have people that we look up to and we idolize or we revere, because we're like, oh, she's so confident, or she's so this, or, I look up to people who have really strong voices because that's what I admire, because that's what I wish to work on myself, right? Is like to speak up, to show up in the world that way. So look at the people you admire, look at the people you look up to, and then start to craft an alter ego of what would the highest version of you look like, and what is it that you desire to embody. And chances are the version of you that you wish to get to is probably very confident. Is probably very confident in themselves. They probably trust, they believe, they have this inner knowing, right? They show up authentically in whatever way that looks like, and they feel good about themselves in each moment. So what can you do to create a version of you that now you're going to kind of tap into more often each day, or just align with? So I want to look at this 2 ways before I wrap up this video, and that is that your alter ego can be someone that you desire or admire. That's the word, not desire. Someone you admire and you're looking up to them and you wish to embody more of their characteristics. Or it could be realizing that your alter ego is actually just the highest alignment of your truest self. Your alter ego is just the highest alignment of your truest self. So that part of you that's always been here in your heart and soul, that part of that inner knowing of what you're here to do and how you're meant to show up, that is your higher self. And so maybe tapping into your alter ego is really just about aligning with your highest self and constantly challenging yourself to see yourself and step into alignment with who it is you truly are, underneath all the beliefs, underneath all the insecurities or stories or doubts, and getting into that place. So this is a huge, huge part of my Conquer Your Mind program, which if you're interested in learning more, make sure you check out the link down below and sign up for my free mindset training, because I share the exact 3-step process from Conquer Your Mind in that training. And step 3 is really about that alignment with your truest self. So tapping back into the version of you who's always been there, your truest self that you can step forward into with the confidence, with the clarity, and with the alignment of your intuition, as well as just like having your energy and your mindset backing your truth. So that was a really weird way of saying it. But you are creating a new reality by starting to tap into that alter ego and showing up that way. So maybe you go to a get together, or maybe not, because as I'm filming this, it's still COVID, but to use that, let's dream of the days where COVID's over and you can go to a get together. And maybe you're like how I used to be, where I'd be really insecure and shy, and I'd be telling the story of how nobody cares what I have to say, and afraid to speak up or connect with people because I don't think my opinion matters anyway, and I'd just be like a little turtle, like hiding in the corner, kind of, pretty much. So say that's you. Now, your alter ego, or your highest evolvement of yourself, is probably very confident. And that doesn't mean like jumping around and like boisterous and loud, but it just means that they're holding their own and they're very present, very calm and collected at that get together. So maybe in order to get into that version of you, you need to start practicing those baby steps and kind of tap in, or try to align and create that reality of, okay, if I could just be that version of myself right now for this next hour, what would it look like? What would it feel like? What stories would I be telling myself then? How would I be showing up, right? What kind of posture would I have? Instead of like being collapsing like a turtle, I'm gonna like stand and take up space and know that I belong. This was such a huge shift for me in my own life, was starting to just act like I was already that version of myself. And the second I started to make those changes and show up like, hey, I could be that person right now, actually. There's no reason I can't. The only reason I think I can't is because I'm telling the old story, and I've now uncovered that that story is false. So why am I still telling it? Why am I still letting it dictate my life? I don't have to. So you can create a new reality. Start stepping into your alter ego, whatever that looks like, your alter ego, your higher self, same but different, you know what I mean? And start to show up with more confidence in whatever area that is. So looking at whether it's your money story where you have insecurities, relationships, body image, personal, career and work, just like lifestyle in general, wherever you're having your insecurities and your self-doubts, this is the process. If you do these things for each area, I promise you're going to have major transformation and shifts, and it's going to help you so much to step into the confident human that you are here to become, and to really own your gifts and your power. So make sure you give this a try. Again, thank you so much for being here. If you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Feel free to share with anyone you know who will benefit. Comment down below any questions or takeaways. I love hearing from you, and I always get back to you as much as I can. And I will see you on the next video.